Hi guys, my name is Mills and I am here in Ho Chi Minh City about to take you on my day here in Vietnam. A little bit about me. I did the ITA course back I think in 2019, November 2019, such a long time ago. And I did the 11-week online TEFL course. That brought me to Budapest, where I taught with my partner. I taught there for 2 years, and then he and I just moved to Ho Chi Minh City, and we landed on July 1st, so we've been here since then. But my TEFL journey took me all the way to here now, where I work at an international school here, and I teach English literature. My day usually starts at 6 a.m. And then I get to school around 6:30. Right now it's 6:10. I woke up a bit earlier so that I could give you guys an apartment tour and everything. But a bit about where I live. I live in the Pham Nhu Lao ward, which is in District 1. I live in like what would be kind of like a studio apartment, but it's like also like a 1-bedroom. It's divided up by a wall. And I do drive a motorbike, so it takes me about 5 minutes to get to work, and then 5 minutes to get back home, which is really nice. I work in District 3, and my partner, he also works at the same school as me. He works at both my campus, at the other campus. Our school has 2 different campuses, one in District 3 and one in District 10. One is the secondary campus and one is the primary campus. But I'm going to give you guys an apartment tour really quick before I head off to work. Alright, so I want to go ahead and give you guys the apartment tour. You can see our big shoe rack here. It's a little bit of a mess, but yeah, we have all our shoes, or most of our shoes, out here, because in Asian cultures you need to take your shoes off before you go into the apartment, so that's what we do here. We live on the 3rd floor of our apartment building, and the kicker is there is no elevator, but it's really not that bad. The stairs are not that steep. But anyway, so we are now in the kitchen / bathroom area. This is our washing machine. We have a nice refrigerator, microwave. Our apartment came pretty much fully furnished. Everything you see here is what came with the apartment. This is our big drinking water jug. You can't drink the water out of the sink in Vietnam. You have to drink already purified water in these bottles. So we do have one of those. We have, sorry, I got cut off, but we have a hot plate. My boyfriend, he really only uses this to make coffee. He has a mocha pot because we mostly get Grab delivery, or we go out and eat street food for our meals. Our bathroom is definitely different than the one we had in Budapest. We have a wet room. So that pretty much means that we don't have a divider between the toilet and the shower. So, you know, the whole bathroom pretty much gets wet every time we take a shower. All right, so this is the divider I was talking about. That's why I'm like, it's a studio, but kind of not a studio. So we open this up here and we are in our living room area. Sorry for the mess. But this is our bed, living room, couch area, and we have a TV. We also have a tiny little balcony here. I'm not going to open up and go out there, but we do open this up sometimes. So yeah, this is our... I'm going to leave a comment box somewhere around here where you guys can ask me any questions that you have pertaining to living in Vietnam, my job, ITA, their programs. That is totally fine. I won't be able to answer them till I get home later. Like I said, my day officially at the school starts at 7:30 and I end at 4:30 Monday to Friday. So yeah, I'll answer those questions. Alright, so I just thought I would show you my motorbike here and my boyfriend's motorbike over here. We personally drive around Ho Chi Minh City because that's in the long run, the cheapest way to get around the city. And we currently rent our bikes, but we hope to buy our own bikes somewhat soon. But if you're not comfortable driving, they definitely have things like Grab and Bee, which are the equivalent to Uber around Ho Chi Minh City to get around, and they're also fairly cheap as well. All right, I'm on campus now. This is our teacher's room. It is kind of small, but all the secondary teachers work in here. If you see that, you can hear that I'm out of breath. I just walked up 2 flights pretty quickly. So yeah, but I forgot to mention that this is my second time living in Vietnam. The first time was back in 2019, and I loved it so much that I made it a goal to come back and teach, and I'm getting to do that now. I wanted to answer this question first because I have like a really interesting answer for this. So before, like I mentioned earlier today, I moved here with my boyfriend from Budapest, Hungary. We taught there for 2 years. And if I had to compare the language barrier to Hungary compared to here, Budapest to Saigon, I would definitely say that Budapest has definitely more of a difficult language barrier than Saigon does, or Ho Chi Minh City. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's a lot of foreign investment here. Saigon is technically the economic hub of Vietnam, like for the whole country, so they deal with a lot of international investment, foreign investment and whatnot. So more and more people here are wanting to learn English, and even Vietnamese people will come up to the street and just want to practice their English with you. So that is one of the things I do like about living here as well. So I found my job on a website called VietnamTeachingJobs.com. It is great. It's free, but if you wanted to, they do have an option for services where you can like pay like maybe $20, and like they do have recruiters that work for the company, and they can make your resume a priority and all this kind of stuff. You can kind of think of it more or less as kind of like a LinkedIn for Vietnam teaching jobs. But anyway, that's where I found my job. And yeah, I'm sure you can find a lot of other jobs on there too. This is a really good question. So I would definitely say that if your bachelor's isn't anything in education, make sure your master's is, especially for it to say education or teaching on the master's. If you have a bachelor's in teaching or in education and you also have a master's in that, that's great too. I already have some colleagues that don't have their master's yet, but they do have their bachelor's, and they do say like teaching or education on there. It's like, it has something to do with like your visa. That's why they're specific about it. But if you don't have your teaching license just yet, you can also, do something like Moreland or something like that while you're teaching at an international school. Actually, that's what I'm going to be doing in March, is going through Moreland's Teach Now program to get my teaching license. So like I mentioned earlier, this is the second time I've been in Vietnam. The first time I was in Vietnam was in 2019, early 2019, before COVID hit. I was still in university at the time, and I was doing like an internship abroad, and that was my first teaching experience. So it's been awesome coming back and living here for even longer now, or that's the plan. But I would definitely say that my favorite thing in Vietnam are the people. The people are so nice, they're so welcoming. Very hospitable. I have made so many great friends here from my first time in Vietnam that I, kept in touch with and everything, and I've, seen them again since I've been back. And the food is so good, so cheap. So yeah, those are my 2 favorite things about Vietnam. Oh, and the fact it's such a diverse country in terms of nature and everything like that. So you get a bit of everything. Oh, I really like this question too. This one's really hard because like I have 2 very different experiences. Hungary was my first, real like in-person teaching job, where I got like some pay and some benefits and that sort of thing. So it was definitely a learning experience. But I really do love actually working in Vietnam so far, especially being able to take this next step in my career, teaching at an international school and teaching a subject that I love, which is English literature. I love to read, and I love being able to do something that I'm passionate about and, teach this to my students. So I value each country, you know, I guess you could say differently or about the same. Like I can't really choose which one I enjoyed working in more. So this is also an interesting question. My thoughts on teaching jobs in Vietnam. There are a ton of teaching jobs. With that being said, there are Facebook groups like Bad Experiences Teaching in Ho Chi Minh City or something like that, which I would highly recommend being a part of, because since there are so many teaching jobs, more likely are there to be, you know, some scams. So you do want to filter those out. And yeah, I would definitely say if you're more on the, if you're thinking more about like teaching at a language center, I think that's great in the terms of if this is the first time you're teaching or something. I think that that's a great way to get your foot into the door. But if you are a more experienced teacher and you do have some experience, I would definitely probably look more at international school teaching jobs rather than language center jobs. So the move wasn't terrible. So how I got my job is quite a story, because I actually originally came here with another company, ended up not really liking it. My boyfriend was the same way too. We put in our 30 days and then we ended up finding new jobs within a week pretty much. So that's how I kind of came to the job that I have now, and I love it. But I would definitely say that, you know, it is good, in my opinion, to find a job before coming here. It is definitely possible to find a job while you're here, because I've done both already. But with that being said, your company will be able to get you an approval letter faster for you to get your business visa, so that your business visa can already be in your passport and you can get through immigration, you know, probably a bit quicker. But I'll go into the visa process on the next slide, so just hang tight. So I just mentioned that the visa process here is quite different. With that being said, after you get here on your business visa, there is a checklist that usually your company or your school will give you that you need to get in Vietnam. Two of those being that are probably like more or less the most important would be, besides your degree, your TEFL certificate, all that kind of stuff, would be your background check that you can get here, your police background check, and you do have to do a health check. So yeah, those are two very important things. And those are things that you definitely need, along with everything else in your checklist, for you to get your work permit and your TRC, your temporary residence card. And those are things you have to get while you're in the country. Your business visa will last 3 months, but I've heard that, you know, if your paperwork is in the process of being, you know, accepted for your work permit, for your TRC, then they can extend your business visa without having to do a visa run or anything like that, for either a month or maybe 3 months. I have to double check that. But that's really important to know too, because there are people here that do have to do visa runs. A lot of times it's usually on a bus to the Cambodian border from here and back. I actually had to do that once. My boyfriend has had to do that as well with our new jobs here. So yeah, it does take some time, and there are things that you have to do here in order to get the work permit and the TRC. But once you get that, it's pretty smooth sailing from there. All right, I just finished dinner. It was delicious. So I don't always eat Vietnamese food. Sometimes I change it up and get maybe some other kind of Asian food, or some Western food. And tonight was just one of those nights. But anyway, somewhere around here I will put my Instagram handle in case anybody wants to follow me. If you guys have any extra questions that you'd like to ask, I would be happy to answer them. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this takeover. It answered a lot of your questions, and if you ever plan on moving to Vietnam, do it. It is a wonderful, wonderful country. Highly encourage it, highly recommend it. Bye!